Nicht umsonst sehen die nämlich so anders aus. So, geht's hier irgendwo lang? Dekorativ? Dekorativ. Dekorativ, dekorativ. Okay. Dann wollen wir mal untere Ebene gehen. Schnellreisepunkt gefunden. Yay! Da. Ich wollte gerade sagen, hier war doch ein Ausrufezeichen. Es handelt sich um Deck-Fassel-Baupläne mit einem zentralen Fahrstuhlschacht und mehrere kreisförmigen Bereichen. Nothing here. Das sieht hier wirklich komplett gleich aus. Mit Mist, Astralenergie, Fluktuation in Dana und Rena. Mein Gott. Who's here? Renans.
Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Hmm? Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Was?
The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevrecht 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and Rena, do you?
Doch.
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Ach, war das zufällig? Okay.
Have you guys lived up here in Deg Faisal with Hevrecht 35 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegis from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevrecht 35 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquill have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shionne and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegis is still run.
But aren't the Helganquill themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquill, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevrecht 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. we've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further. That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions.
Ah, die anderen geben uns auch noch so viele Informationen. Ach du Kacke. Der Aufseher und ich führen viele belebte Debatten zu einer ganzen Reihe von Themen. Politik, Philosophie, Wissenschaft. Ich genieße sie stets. Als Angehörige anderer Spezies sind unsere Blickwinkel so einzigartig, dass es intellektuell anregende Gespräche sind. Ich gehe davon aus, dass auch der Aufseher sie genießt. Sie sind ein exzellentes Mittel, um der Monotonie in Dak Fesol zu entfliehen. Okay.
Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquill.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Ich sag doch.
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquill.
Hä? Also mich überrascht es nicht.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't, but there are Helganquill. That's what the name literally means in their language, people of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquill are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans that the Helganquill kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use Astro Arts on Dana now.
Helganquill technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries. They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and—
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquill are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Digga. Ja, dann haben sie das halt einfach gemacht, ne? Das
Did you
ist so...
really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
Unwahrscheinlich. Die Schöpfergabe, die die Helganquill aufweisen, erstaunt mich jedes Mal aufs Neue. Ob Suge wie Renea oder alles andere. Ich vermute, dass unser Eins viele Generationen braucht, bevor wir ihr Niveau an Expertise und Kultiviertheit erreichen. Ah, Bewunderung, alles klar. Wenn man zu sehr, ja, eine scheint dauerhaft überwacht zu werden, um sicherzustellen, dass sich Dak Fesol nicht nähert. Das ist genauso wie der Arzt, der bewusst Leuten gefoltert hat, um auf neue Erkenntnisse zu kommen. Ja.
Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dana's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner! However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied. The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renins in Helganquil that day.
I'm sorry.
For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dana, and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contests began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps. A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dana. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevrecht 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes, and yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
Ja, richtig abgekapselt,
He talks like the
emotional.
potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a
Ja,
long time.
genau, das wollte ich auch
Who
gerade
knows what
sagen.
shape their minds are in?
Die sind so emotional abgekapselt worden, weil sie hier
Feels
so
like our
alleine
whole world
sind.
has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renins were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Sorry, ich muss mal eben pausieren. Hier kommt der Motorradfahrer. Ich hab's schon ein paar Mal in meinem Stream erwähnt. Ist hier gerade wieder mal so dermaßen ausgerastet. In dem Sinne, ne? So Lappen halt. Der kommt hier fast jeden Tag vorbei. Aber anscheinend hat er noch nicht mitbekommen, dass hier eine Sackgasse rausgeworden ist wegen einer Baustelle. Hihi. Deswegen muss er gerade wieder umdrehen. Und scheint aber weg zu sein.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we've found the answers we've been looking for. Does everyone agree?
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind everything.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renins, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renins as well is likely because they were originally Danans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit. Why don't we all take some time to think things over, before we decide on our next move?
That's a good idea, Kisara. If the Renin Great Spirit really is behind all this, And we've got a really big fight ahead of us. Because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay. You sure you don't want to be alone right now?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds too.
Sounds good. Let's go find them.
Jo, deine Gruppe hat sich
Everyone's
aufgelöst.
just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah, let's hit up each spot.
Bislang sind die Dinge auf Dana genau nach Plan verlaufen. Ich fühle mich geehrt, den letzten Stufen eines Ereignisses beizuwohnen, das generationenlang vorbereitet wurde. Ich bin gespannt, wie es endet. Hier können wir uns anscheinend ausruhen. Wenn ihr müde seid, dann könnt ihr euch hier ausruhen. Es sollte euch allerdings nicht ausmachen, dass wir hier unseren Winterschlaf halten. Rosten. Nö, brauchen wir nicht kochen. Ich wollte... So... Schaut gerne vorbei, wenn ihr euch hinlegen möchtet. Das ist nicht die bequemste Unterkunft, aber ihr seid willkommen. Uff. Wo kommen plötzlich die ganzen Renea her? Wieso ist der krank? Ihr habt mich wieder zusammengebrochen vorgefunden und mir aufgeholfen. Das weiß ich zu schätzen. Dank euch kann ich weiter forschen. Cool. Ja, dann heilen wir uns jetzt selber nochmal schnell, ne? It is Spiel. Also bitte. Also wirklich gedacht, dass ich mich nicht nochmal heilen würde.
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing any better now?
Who?
He who? Oh, you mean Dohalim, don't you?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but he looked like he was taking it really hard earlier.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans and the Great Spirit and all that?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, the Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will of its own. But if that thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Danans and Renans in Menancia is still a work in progress. In my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So, to be told that they're like us, that they're actually just like us is, well, I guess it's a little deflating, to be honest.
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquil and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible. But at the same time, I realize that not every Danan is necessarily going to believe that either.
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Danans have against the Renans is long, and understandably so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Even just among the Danans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power and some who won't. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a truly good place.
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing conflicts we have.
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like Rinwell did.
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, we'll never move on. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that, but to also embrace each other's pain in a sense.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true. Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. The first step to healing those wounds is to put aside that hatred. It won't be achieved through reasoning, but I think it's a good first step, if nothing else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
Junge, war das ein langes Gespräch. Jetzt sollten wir darüber nachdenken, wie wir mit dem Schmerz umgehen, den wir alle fühlen. Wie gesagt, es war für mich leider zu offensichtlich, als dass es mich jetzt so schockiert hätte. Das ist eben das Ding, ne? Ja, mit Grinwell möchte ich jetzt letztes sprechen. Grinwell ist mein Lieblingscharakter, um ehrlich zu sein. Insbesondere seitdem sie ihren Hass überwunden hat. Der Plan zur Geisterbeschwörung wird bald endlich vollendet, da der Aufseher nun das Ende seiner Lebensspanne erreicht. Nachdem er sich bereits unzählige Male in einem Ruhezustand versetzt hat, war dies abzusehen, um es vorsichtig auszudrücken. Was machen wir, wenn das Projekt vorüber ist und nichts mehr für uns zu erforschen bleibt? Wir beobachten weiter, solange es Dinge gibt, die es zu beobachten lohnt. Wenn unsere Zeit gekommen ist, werden wir wieder zu nichts. Ein passendes Schicksal für diese Station und ihre Bewohner, nachdem sie in den Kosmos entsandt wurden. Haben die Renäer auf Lenegis die Kontrolle über ihre Suche verloren? Es wäre angesichts der ganzen Astralenergie dort nicht unplausibel. In dem Fall wurden wohl die Arts, die sie im Zaum hielten, gestört. Ich bezweifle, dass es andernfalls das Werk des großen Geistes war. Ich stimme zu. Es ist schwer vorstellbar, dass ein derart riesiges Bewusstsein ein so lokales Phänomen aushecken und bewirken würde. As I said, Grinwell als letztes. Oh, der Aufseher bleibt aller Wahrscheinlichkeit nach bis auf Weiteres bei uns, da seine Vitalwerte weiterhin stabil sind. Trotz seines Aussehens ist seine Biologie unserer überraschend ähnlich. Ist es nicht unheimlich faszinierend? Alle sehr in ihre Forschung vertieft. Der Aufseher muss erfreut sein, dass er die Transformation Danas mit ansehen darf, bevor er das Zeitliche segnet. Wow, das Zeitliche segnet. Sehr, sehr empathisch.
I apologize for making you witness that.
You mean hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, it's a rather elaborate one. I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shionne. About your thorns, and being a maiden.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
Well, to say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself. What concerns me is all of the other Renans out there.
Humans.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis or Dana, right?
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, our problems will still remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where it is that we wish to return to.
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis or come down to Dana, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, things could turn dire. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to overcome between us. And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans. Our own circumstances as the aggressors are irrelevant.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about people reconciling.
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis after this is all over?
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, I remain determined. On that note, I have something of a favor to ask of you, Alphen.
Oh? What is it?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator so that the Renans can live on Dana peaceably. As the one and only blazing sword, I suspect the Danans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes. I realize that I'm asking quite a lot of you. However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society without any bloodshed. That is why...
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Thank you, my friend.
Ach, Dohalim. Auch ein Schätzekind, ne? Es liegt bereits ein langer Weg hinter uns und doch bleibt noch so viel zu tun. Danke für deine unermüdliche Unterstützung, Alphen. Als Lenegis aktiviert wurde, wurde auf die Sicherheit der Einwohner von Verunviertel offenbar keine Gedanken verschwendet. Nicht, dass es eine Rolle spielen würde. Nach Vollendung des Plans ist Lenegis nutzlos. Es ist nur logisch, dass es dringendere Anliegen gab. Ich denke mal, dann ist auch Lenegis wird einfach sich überlassen oder überhaupt. Abgesehen von den unvorhersehbaren Entwicklungen in Lenegis verlief alles recht reibungslos. Selbst wenn wir solche Deviationen bemerkten, würden wir sie vermutlich ignorieren, da unser Leitbild als Beobachter das Eingreifen untersagt. Aber wir sollen eingreifen. Witzig. Ich frage mich, ob da näher noch immer keine eigenen Nachnamen erhalten. So roh diese Taktik auch ist, sie ist effektiver zur Unterwerfung. Wobei wir nicht so verschieden sind. Sie mögen klangvoll wirken, aber Nachnamen sind bloß ein Mittel, die formale Herkunft eines Einzelnen auszumachen. Wo er recht hat, hat er recht.
I still can't believe it, man.
You're not the only one still trying to make sense of all this. Believe me.
Really? You've never struck me as the type of guy to get hung up on these sorts of things.
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleum? Once my memory started coming back to me, I felt completely and totally lost.
It was really that bad for you?
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that I still had things out there worth fighting for.
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen. All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad, and running away from the truth. That was no way to live. And I've tried to stay strong, my way. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all too much for me to handle right now.
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons, but I never really opened up to anyone about them. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, I didn't know what I should do, or who to tell. But that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important. I just had to open up and listen.
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside, you'll begin to lose sight of what you really care about. Yeah, I think you're right.
The thing that's most important, what I really care about, all I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me, to fight for them. That's good enough, right?
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was still alive. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care about. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of what you want to protect in the first place. Sound good?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
Auch interessant. Kisara macht sich Gedanken, wie es zukünftig aussehen könnte mit Renean, Danian, ne, dass er plötzlich zusammengeht. Dualim ebenfalls macht schon einen Vorschlag, hey, Alpha, mach du hier den Vermittler und ich mach den Vermittler und so weiter. Und Law ist so wieder auf sich fixiert. Ich überlasse den schwierigen Kram für große Jungs ganz dir und tue, was ich tun kann, um zu helfen. Aber es ist halt außerhalb seiner Reichweite, ne? Und dann ist es gut. Er hat sich ja quasi Sorgen gemacht, dass er sich eher um die kleinen Dinge sorgen möchte. Und nur kann. Weil er nicht das Gefühl hat, dass er weiterhelfen könnte. Ja. Was ist? Ah ja, hatten wir schon. Haben wir sonst noch irgendjemanden, mit dem wir sprechen können? Nope. Dann